Hey guys, how's it going? This is Billy Eat World, and today we're taking a look at another themed Battlefield 4 loadout using weapons from World War II. I recorded this loadout with a fellow YouTuber, The Flaming W, who also has a video on this setup up on his channel. So if you guys are keen to check that out, I'll leave the link in the description below, but make sure you give him a sub because he's a great player and he deserves the support. But anyway, in this loadout we're using the SKS and the M1911, which are pretty much the only weapons in Battlefield 4 that were used during the World War II period. To keep this loadout authentic, we're not using any attachments on these weapons or any gadgets except the med bag. The SKS is a Russian semi-automatic carbine that was designed in 1943 to address the fact that infantrymen of the time were using weapons that were far larger and more powerful than they actually needed. The average soldier only needed to reach out to ranges between about 100 to 300 metres. What this meant is that the standard issue full-powered bolt-action rifles of World War II, which could reach out to ranges of more than 1,000 metres, were only really used to their full potential by snipers. On the other hand, the submachine guns fielded by the major powers at the time all used pistol caliber ammunition, which was ineffective at long range or when penetrating cover. Basically, the Russians needed a weapon that was more portable and fired faster, but still packed a decent punch. By the end of World War II, the Russians were still well behind in the development of an intermediate range weapon. The Americans had already introduced the semi-automatic M1 carbine, and the Germans had introduced the forefather to the modern assault rifle, the STG-44, which both fired intermediate cartridges. Despite this, more than 15 million SKS rifles were built, and it served in the militaries of many countries around the world. It's still in use today by a number of countries, but compared to modern semi-automatic rifles, it's considered obsolete. The M1911 pistol, on the other hand, has had a far longer service life than the SKS, and has made a huge impression on the development of semi-automatic handguns. The Browning M1911 was the standard US service pistol of the US Armed Forces from 1911 to 1985, and is still in service today with many countries and in small quantities with the US military. The M1911 fires the 45 ACP cartridge, which is considerably more powerful than the 9mm cartridge fired by many modern semi-automatic pistols. Its basic design was probably the single biggest influence on the design of semi-automatic handguns in the 20th century. So the question is, how does this loadout perform in-game? Well, without going into too much detail, the SKS is characterised by a few important stats. Compared to the other DMRs, it's not very accurate and it has a very slow muzzle velocity. As a trade-off, it fires much quicker than the other DMRs, which means that it's much better suited for close to mid-range targets. Now, I actually don't mind the SKS, but without attachments, it's a bit of a pain to use. Spread increase per shot is a big problem with the DMRs, and to be able to fire one at its full RPM, normally I'd suggest to run it with a stubby grip or even a heavy barrel. I pretty much had to learn how to fire this gun all over again without these attachments, because spamming this weapon without them is just asking for trouble. We were also playing mainly on domination servers, so that really didn't help as most of our gunfights were going to be at close range. Also, hitting moving targets is really difficult with this gun because of its muzzle velocity, so you can expect to waste quite a few bullets because of this. Normally I use a suppressor with the SKS because at least then if you miss a shot you're not giving your position away. The M1911 on the other hand, I actually really enjoyed. It's more accurate than all of the other pistols in BF4 except the 44 Magnum, and it deals a fair bit of damage. It also seems to do fairly well without attachments, but I'm sure that if I had the choice I'd probably throw on a suppressor or a laser sight or something. It's not probably the weapon I'd choose to pair with the DMR though, but all things considered, it could have been worse. So to wrap this video up, would I play with this loadout again? Well, probably not without attachments anyway, and I especially wouldn't recommend using it on domination unless of course you like your skill stat going down. It was a whole lot of fun capturing this footage though. Sure, we got killed a lot, but it was very satisfying when we did go well. Like any gun in this game though, it's not so much how it works but how you use it, and I think half the problem with this loadout was that you get so used to attachments making your gun easier to use. Once I slowed my rate of fire down, I was killing targets again, and surprisingly enough, my skill stat had actually improved at the end of the play session. So if you're up for a laugh, give this loadout a try and see what you think. At the very least, it'll teach you more about how and how not to use the DMRs. But anyway guys, that's it, and as always, if you like what you see, please remember to like, comment and subscribe. And if you haven't already, please check out all my other Battlefield 4 videos. I've got them all linked in a playlist in the description below. And if you have any suggestions for weapons or loadouts that you'd like me to take a look at in future episodes on this channel, then let me know in the comments of this video or send me a tweet on Twitter at BillyEatWorld. But until next time guys, see you later and have a good one.